Hello, and welcome to Ship from the Cloverfield, episode 158. I'm your host, Ralph. We got some topics to discuss today, including the war fund expanded again. Stop begging players for your rights. Stop consenting to rulers. New egomaniac ear ticklers are raising their campaign funds on telling people what they want to hear, giving lip service about ending genocide because it's a popular topic, while silent when it wasn't. Saying they are here to help the working people, while forgetting those who cannot work by no fault of their own, yet again. Flapping lips and no follow-up helps no one, but it fills the pockets of a chill while people continue to suffer. When will people learn that it's just us? No rulers. We are all equal and need to take care of each other and the planet. The critical mass has come to understanding that both parties are shit. So now the Dark Priest class are adding to and rebranding their talking head puppets and concocting a new set of fishing lures. Do not take the bait. And all war, release the files. Cut ties with that shit. Children and Earth depend on it. Cease and desist construction of all data centers indefinitely. Earth first, children first. Innocent children and sick feminine have been and continue to be desecrated, and no one here has been held accountable. They continue their data center bullshit and trample over consent. We do not give consent to data centers. Cease and desist construction of all data centers indefinitely. Like being said, like I always mentioned, the alien interview, what was the main thing that destroyed his civilization? Or I don't know what the gender of it was, but what destroyed civilization? The main thing that almost took them out and somehow they survived it was artificial super intelligence. And what he said, what's the key? Limit its power. And how you do that? Global consensus. We do not consent to data centers. Disability is not welfare. Yes, taxation is theft and shouldn't be a thing. Under capitalism, some taxpayers have a problem with disabled people who receive disability because they are unable to work, not by choice, but they are perfectly fine with their taxes being used to subsidize megalomaniac psychopathic trillionaires and to recently expand the war fund yet again to murder and destroy children and innocents and steal land on the other side of the planet. The monetary system is a slave system. What about the masses' right to opt out? Everyone has the right to have food, shelter, independent living, and the right to live in a way that they choose. And a way that they choose that doesn't cause harm. Disability is not welfare. It should not be based on the income of other family members. Disabled people deserve enough to live on and enough to pay for medical needs that are not always covered. They shouldn't be scrutinized for savings or if they receive a gift from someone. Disability is not welfare, but it is treated as such. It's an income, not a benefit, an income to somebody who does not have the privilege to commit to a full-term schedule. It's actually what it is. Not everybody has the privilege to commit to a schedule. Like I said, disability is not a benefit. The fact that the fact that they title it benefit makes it sound like a luxury. It isn't as much as some assume, and not every sick people need is covered. They also have rent to pay. There's hard rental assistance, but not free housing that some assume the disabled community receives. Or the satanic system titles benefit is an income for someone who doesn't have the privilege of scheduled commitment. Disability itself is a full-time job. Disabilities fluctuate, and those who have dealt with disability their whole lives find ways to adapt and push themselves even when they are in pain. They don't deserve judgment on the day that they are experiencing a breath once in a while. It doesn't mean that disability is better. Disability is always there, and disabled people have the choice the right to live in a way that works for them. Disability is unpredictable, making individuals unreliable, not by choice. Not every disabled person has the privilege of scheduled commitments, like I said, including recreational plans, and they give back when their body and mind allows. They don't have the privilege of a work schedule, and they also have the privilege of keeping commitments that even they want to do. So, remember that. It's an income for those who do not have the privilege of a scheduled commitment. Residents and facilities deserve independent living and community inclusion. They want to expand facility dependence to take back the income of individuals with disabilities. They love facility dependence where they give residents an allowance of their own benefit and take back the rest. That is not speculation. Anybody want to question that? I ask this question. Why is there a marriage penalty of benefit decrease or loss for the same people who want to get legally married and live independently with someone who is willing to carry the torch that the parents once did? Disabled people receive income for their disability because they cannot independently earn an income. It is not welfare, like I keep mentioning, because more people need to understand that, because it is treated as such. Not every disability need is covered by insurance. My partner loses her income and health insurance if she gets legally married. She receives the DAC SSDI benefit based on her father's work history. He departed in 2015. She couldn't legally marry her late husband. They chose the commitment ceremony option. They were both disabled and lived in a HUD apartment complex. She still lives there until her new partner find a place where her accessible bus goes. Her and her new partner want to fight for legal marriage. Her new partner wants to carry the torch, and one would think that the SSDI DAC benefit based on her late father's work history will turn over to a partner's work history who is willing to help her, but it doesn't. The satanic system does not support a disabled person's right to make personal life decisions and keep the income that they depend on. Her and her partner are interested in a house. If something happened to her partner, her benefit alone would not be able to cover the house and electricity bills. She would need her income for medical expenses, food, and personal toiletries, along with what she would receive if they was legally married. The only way she can marry and keep her DAC SSDI is if she marries another DAC SSDI recipient. So the satanic system gets to tell her who she is allowed to marry in 2026. Ain't that a bitch? She just came out of a grief storm and shouldn't have to worry about the end of life shit with her new partner. But here we are. What about somebody with a disability that receives DAC SSDI and wants to marry and have children? The children are forced to depend on one income, and the spouse is the worker and caregiver at risk of chronic burnout. Bottom line is, the satanic system wants disabled people controlled. They resent their non-conformist nature. Disabled people deserve to live the lives they choose while living with the challenges that they did not. They get back in their own way, and that's precious. Now, the next topic. Problem, reaction, solution, Venezuelan heartquake. Get it right. Heartquakes are happening simultaneously everywhere but Israel. How convenient to have severe fake-ass earthquakes happening in places like Venezuela. The mark of the Rubik's Cube, fake-ass humanitarian, is quick to transform into a perfect square and be the solution, right? Probably that solution, okay, now electric, now you just want to make it an earthquake in quotes. No, it's a fucking heartquake. So you can come in and take what you want. You know, we see what the fuck you doing, bitch. We see what the fuck you doing. So, and I think there was some earthquake in California or something, but he probably got some bullshit where they be like, well, to try to throw it off, right? Because it happens here sometimes too, right? But a severe, really bad one happened in the place that they're interested in, right? Remember the usual bullshit humanitarian cult oil follower in Gaza? People are still suffering, having their land pillaged still, and being tortured and driven out of the land that they love and they live in, and that land they're indigenous to. Remember that? It's still happening. Don't forget. Free Palestine. Free Lebanon. Hands off Palestine, hands off Lebanon, hands off Sudan, hands off Congo, hands off Albania. You should hands the fuck off. Remember that? The one that got humanitarian bullshit, dropping snacks and rotten food on people who were starving to death? They were also lowering them with food on the ground and murdering them in cold blood. They have invasive bases everywhere. The last ditch effort is now heartquakes. They want to play God with their stage revelation. Bullshit. They think their bunkers will keep them safe, but no one can escape the crack of the Holy Mother, and Earth never forgets. It's in the cosmic record. You can have your flat camera bush up whatever the fuck you want, but the crows and the ravens be watching. And they report back. Beings here report back. Every people see, every child people see, report back. And this last topic, various bastards attempting to control the narrative under protection of children. No one has been charged in the Epstein files. Predators get a slap on the wrist and free trips to Israel. The war machine mass murders children. Children are being sold on Vinted, boycott Vinted and Wayfair. They don't give a shit about children. They want children in a controlled narrative to continue their working class and order follow a soldier class. They want children on a controlled narrative, trying to get like biblical teachings in schools, right? Trying to brainwash the children because they lost control of the narrative. They con precious generations of order followers. Sorry. Excuse me. They con previous generations of order followers into war through a controlled narrative. They con the masses into experimental vaccine through a controlled narrative. The flat-out murder of Iranian school children and Epstein revelations have destroyed all credibility. The children are not stupid. Children are precious. They have a right to share the truth and speak out too. The Dark Peace class has lost the narrative. We are global consensus. We protect the children and the most vulnerable from predators. You done, bitch. You done. We are the global consensus. It's just us. Earth first, children first. Thank you for listening. I'll see you on the next one.